ubicada en la Quinta Calle, llega a la parrilla de Wow Play con contenidos diversos para ustedes. Todos los jueves a la 1:30 de la tarde, después del noticiero 90 minutos, emisión central.
Wow Play, lo puedes ver. Wow Play, lo puedes ver.
Hello everybody. Welcome to Wow Speaks English. My name is Diana Toro, your hostess, and with me I have the honor of having and sharing this stage with Professor Rocio Villanueva. Hello, Rosie.
Hello, Dianita. How are you doing? Really glad to be here with you today.
Thank you so much. So today we have a very special program. It's a special episode in collaboration with the High Intermediate course. And that course was led by Professor Rocio Villanueva. She is going to give us more information regarding how was the process of making the episode, who are the students, and a little bit more details.
Okay, thank you, Dianita. Yeah, that's right. So I had the opportunity this semester to be in charge of this high intermediate course, and we developed this really nice project called the Radio Project during the second academical term. So the students created all the process, they developed all the process, they created their own content, their own program, they had the opportunity to interview and interact with people around the campus, do some interviews locally, internationally. What really accomplished the aim of the project, which was to make our students to interact fully, not just with their classmates, just around the campus and also in other environments like the international one. So they would be presenting this nice project today, Dianita.
Awesome. Well, that was really a meaningful experience for them. Hopefully, we will have more experiences like this next semesters or the semesters to come. I also want to say hi to the level or the group of Carolina Marin, who is in the lab right now watching us. Hello, everyone. Thank you for connecting. And for you to know, you must fill out the attendance form that is in the description of the program. There you will see the link to complete the attendance. Second, you can participate through the comments to get the extra points. Professor Rocio and I are going to be there connected with you, answering all the questions and writing the questions for you to answer as well. So make sure that you are actively participating throughout the program. Don't forget to fill out the attendance, and without further wait, let's connect with the program prepared by the high intermediate students, and is the topic of living alone. Let's go with it.
Welcome to Wow Speaks English, a radio program made by students for the world.
Hello, we're here today with Timoteo, Andres, Javier, and who's talking to you, Natalie. The topic of the day is young people moving alone. First, we want to ask the people in the audience if you ever thought of moving alone or if you actually have done it. Tell us, how was your experience? First, we'll start with Timoteo. Have you ever lived alone?
Okay, well, in my case, I don't live alone right now, but I live in my uncle's house. So I can say that I'm independent in the practical sense. I mean, I have to take care of my food, money, responsibilities, and also I have to leave everything clean because we share everything. So, answering your question about, obviously, I totally want to someday move it alone, and I think this experience, living with my uncle but independent and totally my things, would help me in the future to being more independent in that sense.
Andres?
Okay. In my case, I don't live alone, but it will be interesting in my future. Yeah, I acquire my own house and I will do everything with my face. Where my parents, it will be hard to me because I'm not accustomed to do the things alone. Where you, Javier?
In my case, I have to live alone against my own, and something happened in my house, and I have to move to another place. And I have the opportunity to live with my roommate and his two cats, and it was a pretty good experience for me because I could enjoy the space to myself. I have the opportunity to learn how to cook and different stuffs. And what about you, Natalie?
Well, I've actually never thought of moving alone. Neither is one of my short-term plans, because my parents have told me a lot that this is a decision that you can take for just out of nowhere. You need a lot of planning. So they told me not to worry about it. I can stay home for as long as I want. Well, let's read what the audience said.
Have you ever wondered what other people think about stuff? Do you also want to express your opinion? Imagine if you can hear what others have to say. Well, that is why we created this section. Welcome to What Do You Think About It?
So here we have a comment of a student, and Juan Camilo said, I have stayed alone a couple of times, but since I only live with my mom, it's basically like I'm living alone, practically. Let's see the comment of Rocío del Pilar. She says, yes, I started to live alone when I was 17. I have moved to Bogota. What do you think, guys?
Very young.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So
17?
Well, being scared.
Well,
Here we also have the comment from Kevin, and he said, what is the hardest thing about living alone? In my case, for example, living alone was very difficult because it was the first time I have to take care of myself, that I have to get the grocery and all the things by myself, and I was like, my grandma always buys the things, I don't know what to buy, I don't know what kind of tomato I should buy. So, and I think in my case was one of the most difficult things, and also accustomed to have money for any kind of emergency, for transport. Any of you has also an experience on living alone that could say it, or do you say? And I think that the most difficult thing will be this thing.
well, I have never lived alone actually, but I think that the most difficult thing, maybe in my case, could be like save and maybe administrate all my money. It's like when you have to buy maybe your own things when you start to live alone and you don't have anything, and it's like, oh my god, this is so much expensive.
Yes.
So it's like that is the most difficult thing that I can say about that.
I think for me the most difficult thing would be getting to do all the things by my own, because when you live with your parents, you have someone to help you, so you don't feel like it's too much to do. But when you live alone, you don't have anyone to help you with the basic stuff, I don't know, cleaning the house, making the food, so you have to have time to do everything.
I don't know. I'm not too agree with that kind of comments, because for most of us have to do maybe most of our things alone. So we are practically independent like Timo. I guess that I am more agree with his perspective.
Yes.
So let's start with our first section, that is, what do we know about it? What do we know about live alone? Well, basically, the thrill of a new place or starting something new, it's hard to beat. But moving to a new place takes a certain of amount of ambition and skills. Living alone can be challenging if you grow up in a large family or have just always come home to maybe with other people. Whether you're a recent empty nester or moving out of your, your parents' house, I guess that is the more common case, adjusting to an empty abode can be a challenge or a welcome change. Either way, the circumstance takes some getting used to, but the transition can be definitely worthwhile.
Yeah, something that I know and I want to share is that you have to pay attention to your surroundings. I mean, when you live with your parents and family or relative, your environment can be limited by others. Example, when you do your daily activities and your daily activities are disturbing others in your house, this is a sign that it's time to make that decision. Or when you have this desire for more peace and quiet spaces, or just simply more space for yourself, that could be a sign that it's time for you to leave from your house.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what do you think, Javi?
In my case, about keeping my house like organized and all that kind of stuff, and I think that is very important because, and when you have, for example, in your bedroom, your clothes in the floor, your shoes in the kitchen and that kind of stuff, is like a chaotic house. And when you have, for example, a visit from your family to see how are you going, that happened me pretty often, and they will be like, why does it show your left shoe is in the fridge, for example? So I think that it's very important to have a time or dedicate a time for keeping your stuff organized, to clean the stuff, and also because keeping you healthy, and it will help you to have I don't know how to say, like, keep you sane. And what about you, Nata?
Well, I think the decision is not something you can make like out of nowhere. You need to sit and think about it, like as I said before. Because, like, for example, if you're in a healthy environment in your house, there's no need to rush things. Like, you could maybe if you want to test how it would be for you to live alone, you could go to a hotel room and just stay by yourself for a few days to see if you like it.
Yeah, now think about if it's hard to move along here in your own city where your family is. Now think about how is moving to a new city or even to a new country. It's something pretty hard, I guess. However, is a whole different level of overwhelming. It's scary, maybe it's stressful, it's challenging, and kind of lonely. You don't, in the most of the cases, you don't have anything else with just, maybe just to be with.
In my case, I think that it is very important what you say, because when you try to move alone, you have two different options. For example, you can move alone or you can move with a roommate, for example. Like that it could make, for example, when you go to another country and you get a roommate, you can make the finances very easier because they can, and I'm sorry, I've said for example like 3 times. And okay. And they can help you with different things like in cooking, they can help you with and give you money, and it can make different kind of things and easier for you, give you company, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but however, there are also many benefits of living alone, like having your own space, like we were saying before, maybe as long as you are well prepared. It's a good experience that you have to do any time of your life.
Yeah, another thing is making decision without thinking and without, all the process, research can be risky, You should do your own research very deep on everything, like prices, locations, markets, public transport, everything else you need to make sure so you can be relaxed when you live there in your new apartment.
You can also make some research in your new area, find out the cost of living in your new city, maybe learn more about the jobs that you could get in there, and maybe the climatic options of the region. Also, get familiar with the culture and the social practices, and find out what your new city has to offer or your new country, so that you know exactly what to expect when you get there.
Now let's hear how what colleagues know about this subject.
And okay, we have also some comments from Kevin that said, "What are the principal mistakes people make when they decide to live alone?"
Maybe spend all the money and things that are not priority. Like you have your bills and things to buy, but you let your let flow and you spend money in food, go out with friends, I don't know, drinks, a lot of things that are not priority, and then you are like, oh, I spend all my money and how I'm going to pay my bills. Maybe these are big mistake.
Yeah, I think so. Well, let's start to see some interviews, some perspective that our students or the Universidad Autónoma students have.
Hi, how are you? I am good. What is your name? Alejandra. Okay, Alejandra, I want to ask you some questions. Okay. Have you lived independently? No. Would you like to live alone or with someone else?
I prefer alone.
Why?
Because I don't like people.
What do you think will be the most difficult situation of living alone?
I think cooking alone.
Why?
Because I'm lazy person.
And what do you think will need a person to move alone?
Money.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, good.
What is your name?
I'm Juan Pablo.
And have you lived alone?
Yeah.
How much time have you lived alone?
About a year, maybe a little bit more.
And why do you decide to do it?
I used to live with my mom, my stepfather, and 4 of my siblings. So we were a lot of people in the same house. So I decided to move on.
And what is the most difficult of this experience?
Pay the bills. Everything is so expensive.
And how do you feel living alone?
It's amazing. It's a little stressful, but it's amazing. You have your own space, you have your own time, you have your peace.
And now give me one advice to a friend that wants to live alone.
Learn how to pay your bills and how to do it good, nor waste your money in other things.
Okay, thank you, Juan Pablo.
I would need the company, for example, a pet, at least a dog, a cat, because at the end we enjoy the company. And well, along the day you live with the stress, so an animal can help you with that. Plus, it would be nice if everything is pretty close, for example, where you can buy the food or maybe you can pay the bills next a bank. That would be perfect. What else? What else? What else? At least a bed. At least a bed. When you have a bed, I mean, at least you can handle by yourself and well, the computer, at least entertainment. So that would be perfect. The most difficult because I don't live by my own right now, but most of the time I'm alone at home. So it's hard because you have to administrate your time also in order to clean the house, Cooking is hard because at the half of the week you don't know what else you can cook, and it's tired to eat the same all the days. So you have to keep thinking what else I can eat. Also, in order to pay bills, it's hard. You have to administrate your time. So if, for example, you work and study and also you have to pay, you need to know where and when you have to pay for it. If you don't have the access to use, for example, or pay online, you have to administrate your time. It would be nice. It depends of if I am with roommates or alone because I enjoy the time by myself. So with roommates, you have to behave. It's different. Alone, it's better because you have the freedom. You know how and when you have to do the things. So it's I prefer that one. Why also? You don't have to deal with another person. When you live with another one, you need to. Well, sometimes it's conflict. Sometimes you have to behave. When you're alone, you have to only deal with yourself. So that's pretty much that.
Hello, what's your name?
My name is Kevin Garcia.
Nice. Have you ever lived independently?
No.
And would you like to live alone or with roommates?
Yeah.
And why would you like to do it?
Because I feel like I need a lot of space for me and for living. And my family don't respect that, so
What do you think will be the most difficult of living independently?
the food, the bills, yeah, all that.
And how do you think someone who lives alone will feel?
With this, relaxing food, yeah.
And what do you think would you need to move alone?
The computer, fridge, yeah, the both essential things. Yeah, I think that.
Okay, what's your name?
My name is Valeria Castro.
How much time have you lived alone?
Well, I lived like 1 year alone. Yeah, well, alone with a roomie.
Nice. And what aspect of independence do you find most difficult?
Well, I think the food, especially because we don't have like a lot of money for that, so I think that food is difficult.
Nice. And why you decide to do it? To move alone?
Why? Because I need it for my university, so I have to come to Cali to live, and I didn't have like family here, so I have to live alone.
How do you feel with this experience?
Well, it's like 50-50, you know, because I think that it's a good experience. We have like things like food that is difficult, but I think that it's a good experience.
Nice. And give a friend who wants to live alone one advice.
One advice, I think that you have to organize your economy for that.
Okay, thank you.
So after hear these videos, I think that most of the students are agree with the points of view that we have shared here in the program. It's like the same perspective that we have of living alone. What do you think?
In my case, I pretty agree with what my friend said, that when you are living alone, you have to experiment different kind of things that are pretty difficult. For example, when you don't know how to cook, it is very difficult to say, okay, I want to do, I don't know, a sancocho. So you start to cook and you look for a tutorial and you're like, okay, I put this, I put that, and how many times I may put it in the oven, and you're pretty lost in that kind of stuff. So I think that I agree with that.
Yes, I think that is a challenge. They take these decisions, but at the end, it's very satisfying. Yes, and that you have your own space, that you have freedom, and it's hard, yes, but you feel happy at the end.
Yeah, I guess that in the case that Javier says, it's like you have to be pretty creative about, okay, what I'm gonna cook today, what I'm gonna do, what I ate yesterday.
An expert. In this section, we want to bring some guests that have living alone for a couple of years and have learned a lot of this process. First, we have Valentina, that she lived in Australia for 3 years, and then we have Crystal, that she lived in the US. So let's hear this experience. Hi, Valentina, how are you?
Good, good, Danny. How are you?
Good too. I want to ask you some questions about your independence. So, where do you live?
I'm living in Australia at the Sunshine Coast, which is close to the one of the biggest cities in Australia.
Okay, and how much time have you lived alone?
I have lived alone since I was 18, so it's already been 3 years.
Okay, and what do you decide to do it?
I decided to move here just because I wanted to live new experience, meet new people, culture, and yeah, try new things.
And what aspect of the independence do you find the most difficult?
I would say cooking. I think cooking is one of the the aspects of independence that I find really difficult. Because I'm working full time and also studying full time, so manage the time sometimes is not that easy. And yeah.
Yes, but how do you feel with these experiences? Is too hard, or are you happy with this?
And just fulfill all my dreams. And I love this experience. I highly recommend it to everyone if someone wants to live a new experience or change their life.
Okay, and
Yeah.
give me please give a friend some advice or something to say, I don't know, some recommendation about living alone.
Uh, well, the recommendations to living alone, I'll just say be aware of saving money or manage the money dependence like for the rent, divide the rent for the cooking, for like for example for the meals, for the petrol if you have car, like be really organized with your time. But if you live it in a country like Australia or where the language is no um Spanish, which is your first language, I would say if you're moving to a different country, just trying to have like a small knowledge of that language.
Okay.
I mean, not necessarily have to learn all the language before arrive to the break, but just have a small knowledge.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Valentina. That's all.
All right. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Crystal Wargle, and I live alone. I've lived alone for 1 year. It's not very long, but I got married when I was 17, and I was married for 36 years. And after that, my husband passed away, and I became widowed, and I found myself forced to live alone. So there were lots of things that were difficult and still are. But for me, in my age, being older than most of the people that's going to view this, I think my experience is much different in that way. Probably for most of you, it would be finances, I would think, being young. But for me, it was loneliness and boredom that was the most difficult. But I think for everyone, some of the aspects remain the same, and everybody has problems with things like the financing and the safety and security. And of course, the boredom and loneliness. Everybody experiences that. But in my case, to help me get through some of the loneliness and the boredom, I experimented with hobbies and with traveling. And I just started working on fitness, taking walks and going out in the community more. I made myself go out and eat by myself, to restaurants by myself. I'd never done that. I always had kids with me or my husband. But yeah, the reason why I live alone is because I had to. It was forced on me. I could have lived with my kids, but who wants to burden their children that way? So I've been enjoying myself. I've been enjoying my solitary life. And the experience has been absolutely phenomenal with the freedom that I've experienced. I can do a lot of the things that I would have never done before, things I wouldn't have tried. Cooking foods I wouldn't have tried before. And I can just hop in my car and come and go as I please. And I like that. I like all of it. Of course, it was a bad year. I did a lot of grieving and it was very sad. But there's been some good times too, I have to say. And a lot of it was all on my terms for the first time in my life. But if I was to give advice to someone, I've tried not to give advice to people. I know my kids would probably say that's not true. But if I was to give someone advice, I would say, if you are in a position and find yourself under circumstances where you can live alone, you should try it. Because you'll get to know yourself better. And what better way to get to know other people than to get to know yourself? They say that if you want to know someone, you need to know yourself first. And definitely living by yourself and finding out all of the different things that you like about yourself or don't like is a good first step. Thanks for listening. Bye now.
Well, let's start our final section. This is Tip Talk, where we are gonna give you some tips that we got it about living alone. The first tip that we got for you is make a budget. Even if you are used to manage your own finance, the cost can occur by living alone. That's why you must consider those things you only buy once, as well as the recurring expenses. You know, I'm sorry. You should do a realistic budget for all of your expense that includes the cushion of your surprise cost, and see if there are any expense you can cut, such as buying a second furniture or something like that. Or maybe it's like go to live with a roommate. That is another way to, cut some cost. The second tip that we got it for you is keep a list of emergency numbers. That is, keeping a list of numbers saved on your phone, stuck to the wall, or even in your wallet is too useful for all kinds of emergencies. That this should include maybe the number of your parents, or the number of the nearest hospital, even for that kind of emergencies that you can manage for your own. What do you think, Andres? What tip do you get it for us?
Okay, so number 3 is adopt healthy habits. When you lie alone, it's easy to say, oh, don't deny, and you eat trash food and see Netflix. Although it's important to steal habits Can you avoid the negative effects? Can confront it that too often? Stay on a decreased schedule yet to ensure you are keeping yourself healthy and happy. When you lie alone, it can be tempting to order food constantly instead of cooking, says Dr. Brian Bruno from Mid-City TMS. Is located in New York and and Strong Chronicles Magnetic Stimulation Center for reference to treatments for depression.
Now, Natalie, what tip do you got?
Okay, my tip for you is to decorate with things that makes you happy. Perhaps when you were living with your parents, you wanted to decorate your room in some way, but they didn't like it, so you couldn't do anything. But guess what? Now that you live alone, you can do all those things. You can do whatever you want. But before you go all crazy at the furniture store and go buy everything that you like, you have to make sure that all the things that you are buying like actually fits the environment, because you don't want to like buy some expensive, I don't know, like a couch, and then when you get to your home it doesn't fit, like it's too big or something. So maybe you should you should read some advices on Feng Shui and then decorate to your heart's content.
I have another tip, Isa.
What tip do you
The
get,
tip
Dani?
is keep things clean. You're not going to have someone to tell you, to remind you to put your clothes away or to take a look into your messy bedroom. It's easy to let the things into the chaos, but a clean space is a happy space. So please, guys, resist the temptation to leave those dishes until tomorrow or that pile of laundry until the weekend, and make a little effort to, I don't know, clean your bedroom, your kitchen, your studio. And I'm not saying that you need to do a deep clean every day, every minute, but try to reduce your messiness is very important.
Yeah, I think so. So, Andres?
Okay, and next, you should be safe, because when you are in a new place, you feel insecurity and you need to use your luck and change the the locks when you move, because some strangers can enter who was there in the last time, but it should be check everything when you move along and try to check if everything is safe for you.
I'm very agree with that. And also, I would recommend you to have a kind of stock on special things. For example, and it's not the same and feeling pretty sick and go to the pharmacy to get some painkillers, to go to your bathroom to get your own painkillers. So I would recommend you to have a little stock of things that you will need, for example, water and painkillers, any kind of medicament that will be pretty helpful for you. And also things like a light and, I don't know, candles, something that will help you on any emergency. And the best thing that I would do when I was living alone and was being pretty ready for whatever that could happen. What about you, Timo? What would you recommend?
A tip that I recommend you for very important is master the art of cooking for one. Cooking could be something boring if you live alone or maybe sad. But that doesn't mean that you should always eat the same thing, like rice with lentils. The key is to plan everything from to the weekend. You could make a list of things or maybe research in internet, because internet is always going to be your best ally, and cook in the weekend and freeze and put the things in the freezer to enjoy for a longer time. So you will have every day a tasty flavorful meal. What about you, Daniela?
I want to read some comments in the chat and about your tip, and the people say that boil the things in D1 is more cheaper, and they say eggs with rice is easy and cheap. Some people maybe will get bored with the rice and eggs all the days, but it's a good option. I don't know. His perspective is, I don't know, the people find the correct way of living alone and is respectful.
Yes.
Other thing that we have other tip that we have is try to see other people, because some people might find that love living alone and enjoy their space, and that have your own company is very amazing. But it's important to see other humans too, because I don't know, you have to share with other people. So schedule a FaceTime chat with your besties, with your family members, or go for a walk, join a group, or join in a couple of times with friends to go out and eat or a party. I saw in the comments that people say that go to 1060 or not go to 1060 because it's too expensive. I spend all my money in 1060 in La Pérgola. I confirm. I agree with that.
That's not a good
It's not good. I didn't recommend it.
Way to spend your money.
But yes, it's that. Make a regular appointment to see other people, to go out of your space, and your mental health will thank you a lot for these interactive spaces.
Yeah, this could be something pretty good, maybe tip for that people that live alone in another city or country. You don't get it, your family just runs there, so it's important to go out with another people.
So the last tip is enjoy it. Because although loneliness and these new changes in your life can bring moments of sadness and depression, you must see the good side of everything. So, because the most important thing here is enjoy this time responsibly. So, take care advantage of your loneliness and do all the things you can do, the things that you could not do when you live with your family. Everything. Stay up lately, play music, organize your own schedule, enjoy it while it lasts.
I pretty agree with
Yeah,
that. In my
too,
case,
yes.
I had the opportunity to, for example, the first days I was very depressed because I missed my family when I was living alone, and I was like, oh no, I miss it all and all these kind of thoughts. But with the time I started to say, and okay, I have my own time, I have the opportunity to play my own music the whole day, since the neighbor don't say nothing. And also, I have two pets, two little cats, that give me a lot of company, that give me a lot of support, and make the time easier to handle. So I think that enjoy is very important.
Natalie, you are too quiet. Why you're too quiet?
We don't bite.
What do you think?
Do you get it something for the audience?
Well, no, I don't think so.
Maybe have a pet is a good option.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
do you have pets?
And in my case, now that I'm living again with my grandpas, no, they don't like the pets, so I had to leave all my cats.
That's so sad.
A pet is an important company. I don't have it, but it's important.
It's
Yeah,
important.
I agree.
Okay, that's so good. So let's start to close with the trivia that we got it for you. It's a kind of play that we got it. So in that way, we can see how much attention do you pay to us.
Games, trivia, and a lot of fun. All you gotta do is get it right.
So we arrived to the end of the program. Thank you so much for having us. I don't know if you want to share with us your answers in the comments that you put in the quizy.
Yes, let's start with the questions.
Okay, let's start with the first question. Question number 1. How many years live alone Valentina in Australia?
Do you remember, guys?
I remember because I do the interview.
Okay, that's a good point.
Okay,
But
yeah.
do you think that the audience remember?
Let's hear in the
I don't
comments,
think
guys.
so.
Okay, some
Yeah.
people say
Almost
18
time.
years old.
How many times they said?
They are saying since
Juan
when?
David, you're grown.
Since he was 18 years old, yeah.
Okay. Let's see
The answer
The
is the
answer.
B.
Let's see the correct
3 years
answer.
old.
Yeah.
3 years living in Australia.
Okay, the
3
correct
years.
answer was 3 years old. Not 18, guys, I'm sorry. Let's continue with the next question.
Okay, and the second question, what option you'll have when you move? And A, sole occupation, B, sharing the space with others, C, living with our parents, D, A and B, and E, all of the above. What do you think, guys?
I guess that is an easy question, you know. We
Yeah,
were talking
but
about
yes,
that.
question
No.
will be hard. For some people, you don't know.
When you will respond to that question,
Okay.
you wanna live with your parents?
Oh no, come on.
Oh my God.
It's
I
not,
won't.
it's not affordable. Yeah.
Okay, what else you say?
They haven't answered yet.
They are thinking.
Yeah,
but
they
it's
are
easy.
thinking
What
about
they're doing.
that.
Yeah.
I guess that.
Someone
Good
here
for
says that
them.
the answer is the letter C. Let's see if he's right.
See?
Yeah,
Oh my
someone
God,
says C
we
here.
was talking about living alone.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It just says when you
No
move,
way.
not when you move alone.
Okay.
See?
Okay,
Yes.
that's a
Okay, let's see the answer.
Okay, take our answer.
So
What
like
is the D?
and share the space with others. What's better in here?
That's a good answer, I think. We were
Next
talking
question. Which of the following tips talks is not in the presentations? Be safe, keep things clean, stock essentials, be aware. Think, guys, think.
Think.
Like,
Think.
you have to think a lot about
I don't remember.
Oh, come on. Another question, easy.
Yeah.
Yes. Here Juan David says the D. Be aware.
Oh. Oh, let's check.
Let's see the answer.
Yes.
Very good, very good.
Point for
The first
Juan David.
point of the night.
Okay, next question. Question 4. This essential you must have in your home. A. Painkillers. B. Pain fillers. C. Insect spray. D. Radio.
I vote for the radio. It is very important to have
It's
music.
an essential thing. That
Music
you have.
is essential, I
The
think.
insect spray, I
Yeah.
think it's very important.
Okay, Juan Camilo Dagger says A. Any other comment, guys?
Painkillers.
Painkillers.
Yeah.
Yes,
correct.
Right.
Very
Yeah.
important.
Very good.
With that part.
We have more questions?
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't remember. Oh my
Question
God.
5. What is the profession of the Dr. Brian Bruno? A. Surgeon. B. Pediatrician. C. Medical director. D. Psychologist.
I'm pretty confused, guys. I don't know this one.
I
Who
don't
is the
remember.
Dr. Brian Bruno?
Andres was talking about him, no?
And I forgot to say that. I'm not sure. But
Ah.
let's check.
Yes.
Yes.
So let's
Just
check.
You draw.
Oh my gosh,
okay.
that's very good. But you talk about
Treatment for depression and do a lot of
You just
investigation about that.
Okay.
Yeah. And the last question is, where is the city of DMS located? I say it already.
Yeah.
New Orleans, New Jersey, New
remember
York.
that you say that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go.
You just
Here.
already said it.
Okay, then you know.
Okay.
New York. Very
We don't
nice.
talk about Bruno.
Yeah, we don't talk about Bruno.
Yeah.
Yes,
we don't. We can talk about Bruno.
That's the point.
That's the point.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much for being here, for sharing your comments, your experience, your point of view. We are glad to having you here, and see you next time. Bye.
See you. Bye, guys.
Goodbye
See you
for
later. Take
everyone.
care.
Welcome to Wow Speaks English, a radio program made by students for the world.